Hey guys! So today we are going to be practicing our distribution. Yesterday and the day before you had problems that look like these guys. You don't have that many on your assignment today. It's mainly to help you guys make sure that you know how to distribute. So we're going to start with our baby steps and kind of grow along the way. I just wanted to rewrite some of our steps for solving for equations. So when we solve equations, you can solve equations a bunch of different ways, but if you follow these steps, it will help you solve them the same way correctly every single time. Over the years, I've noticed some mistakes that students make, so following these steps can help you solve equations correctly. So the first thing that we want to do when we look at solving an equation is we want to distribute, if you can. If you can't, then just move on to step number 2. Step number 2 is combine like terms. Combine like, oh no, I want this to look pretty. Okay. Step number 3. So once you distribute and you combine like terms, you should have close to a two-stepper of a problem. Then we should be adding and subtracting. And there's a little rule, except not when your variable, your letter, is in a fraction. When your variable is in a fraction, we're going to do something different, which we're going to talk about. So yay! And then number 4 is multiply, divide. And this, when you're multiplying and dividing, if you have a fraction, always do the bottom number first. Okay, so these are our steps for solving equations. We always want to start with distribution, then combining like terms, then adding and subtracting, except when you got a fraction, and then multiplying and dividing. So let's practice this. We're going to do the evens together because the odds are your daily quiz. So you have 4 odd questions to do, and then you can watch a video with these 4 questions all worked out for you. Okay, here we go. So number 2, sorry. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we want to distribute. So I know to distribute if I see little parentheses, and then the number that I'm going to distribute is this cute little number that's in front. You should have some sort of number and a letter here, separated by some sort of sign, and a number and letter on the other side. You can have more than 2 terms, which is called a binomial. We do that a lot more in like secondary 2 though, so we have a little ways. Distribution means multiplication, and you're going to multiply the outside number by the first term and the second term. So multiply. Okay, so distribution is multiplication. So here on number 2, our -6 is our outside little guy, and he's the one that's going to get distributed or multiplied by all of the terms on the inside of our parentheses. So we're going to multiply the -6 by the 2 and the -6 by the 3r. Remember our Robin Hood and our arrows? Okay, I really like to start my problems by making a wall. Now this wall helps to keep me organized because a lot of the times we say what you do to one side you must do to the other, and students get confused about what side we're talking about. Well, we're talking about one side of the wall or the other side of the wall. Okay, here, let me zoom in a little so that we can see that problem better. Lovely! Oh my gosh, so great. And then there's my cute little green notes. Okay, so when we distribute, it means multiply. We're not going to do anything with the 84, so we're going to leave that guy alone for a second. And then we're going to multiply -6 times 2 is -12, and -6 times 3r is -18r. Make sure you include that negative when you multiply through. Okay, that's distribution. You're distributing or giving it to all of the terms on the inside. Like if you think about Amazon is a distribution warehouse. They have a bunch of stuff and then they give it to everybody, like through the mail system. Well, I mean, you have to pay for it, but anyways, so we distributed. No more do we have parentheses in our next line. So now we have to go on to step 2. So step 2 is combining like terms. So we're going to find our like terms. On the left-hand side, there's nothing else to combine with my 84, so he doesn't have a like term partner. On the right-hand side, I've got this positive 12, or negative 12, sorry, as I circle the negative sign, and I have a positive 6. They both don't have letters, which means they're alike, so we're going to combine them. Students are confused often about how to combine them. If they're on the same side of the equal sign like this, the same side of the wall, you got to keep those signs the same. So if you wanted to, in your calculator, you can just type in the numbers that you see. So I see a negative 12 and a positive 6. So that's what I typed because it's on that side of the equal sign. Oh, sorry. Okay. So when you combine those, you get negative 6. I keep my cute little 84. And then instead of negative 12 and positive 6, I have a negative 6. Students often also don't know where to write their new number. Just write it down on the line. It doesn't matter if you write the negative 18R first or the negative 6. It really doesn't. But we haven't used the negative 18R yet, so we're going to just bring that guy down. As long as he keeps his sign, then you're good. Okay, now we have a fantastic little two-stepper. I love two-steppers. I'm going to put a box around my variable and my number to remind me that I need to do that last. So we need to get rid of this negative 6 that's by my variable. So the opposite of minus 6 is plus. That makes that guy go down to 0. And we still have our negative 18R on the side, which is what we're trying to do, get that 18R by itself. Since I added 6 to this side, I also have to add 6 to this side to keep my equation balanced. 84 and 6 make 90, and now I have 90 equals negative 18R. If you weren't sure, you can always use your calculator just to double check, because we love double checking things in math. Okay, now we need to get the R by itself. This negative 18 is getting multiplied, so the opposite is divide. Don't forget your sign when you divide by a negative. You have to take that with you. Then what we do to one side cancels off so that we have to do it to the other side. And negative 90 divided by negative 18 is negative 5. Okay, so that's how you do the first one. Let's keep going. Number 4 is very similar to number 1. So we're going to start by looking at our list. Sorry, I forgot to look at our list later. 3 and 4 are really the two-step problems, but we'll talk more about those in the next little bit on the bottom. Okay, so number 4, we're going to look, can we distribute? Yeah, we can. We've got a leading coefficient or a number out in front. Here, this cute little 4 that we want to distribute or multiply to the terms inside of my parentheses. So I'm going to multiply the 4 times 1, and we're going to multiply the 4 times negative 8. That negative is attached to that 8. Don't forget it. 4 times 1, oh, my wall. Oh no! I'm so sorry. Let's get my wall here. I got so excited to multiply and distribute. I'm not going to use the 107, so we're going to bring that down. And I'm not going to use my 7, that's positive, because there's that positive sign in front, so I'm going to bring that guy down too. Okay, now I can multiply. 4 times 1 is 4, and 4 times negative 8a is negative 32a. Oh, look! Now we're down to step 2, so we're going to combine some like terms. On the left-hand side, I have a 4 and a positive 7. When I add those together, I get 11. So we've got negative 32a and 11 is equal to 107. Okay, again, it doesn't matter. If you don't know what sign to write down, just put a plus sign. Okay, so now we have a fancy little two-stepper. I love the two-steppers. I'm going to put my number and my letter in a box. Okay, so next we're going to add subtract, which means we're getting rid of our 11. So I just wanted to show you how these two-step work. So we are going to subtract 11 because we want to do the opposite. Then we have negative 32a. Since I subtracted 11 from the left, I also have to subtract 11 from the right. I want to keep my equation balanced. And 107 minus 11 is 96. So there we go. 96. Uh-oh, my A kind of looks like a 9. Okay, then I want to get rid of the negative 32 in front of my 96. So next we multiply divide, step 4. So we're going to divide each side by negative 32. Sorry. And A equals 96 divided by negative 32. And that's negative 3. If you're not sure what I just did, I just kept my answer, so I told my calculator to use my answer. The first button I pressed was a divide, so if you already have an answer you're going to use, just press the symbol that goes next, and it'll take this answer and put it in your next equation for you. And then I wrote negative 32, which gave me negative 3. Okay, so that's what I did there. Number 6. It doesn't look like we have any distribution because there's no parentheses. So our next step is to combine them like terms. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to make my wall so don't forget this time. And then I'm going to combine my like terms. Well, on the left-hand side, there's just a 12. So, you know, a negative 12. He's going to hang out there. On the right-hand side, I've got an 8r, a negative 2r, and a negative r. So we're going to combine those guys. I still have my negative 12, so I'm going to put that guy there. And I didn't do anything to my 3, so I'm just going to put him on. My other numbers, all you have to do is type in what you see. So I have an 8, a minus 2, and a minus 1. Remember, if there's no number in front of your letter and it's negative, it's a 1. That makes 5. Okay, and they're 5 R's. They're not X's this time, or A's. So we have 5 R's. Okay, now we have our lovely little two-stepper. Notice all these patterns. These two-steppers happen all the time. Okay, so now we have to add, subtract, because we combine like terms, so now we're down to a 2-step. We're going to add, subtract. Okay, so let's, well, no, that's fine. So my 3 is positive. In order to get it away from my 5R, we're going to subtract it, which makes it go away, leaving my 5R, which is what we want. We want the R by itself. So since I subtracted on the right, I also have to subtract on the left to keep my equation balanced. Negative 12 minus 3 is negative 15. So that's add, subtract. Now I need to multiply, divide. Since my 5 and my r sit next to each other, it means multiplication. The opposite is divide. What I do to one side, I do to the other. And r equals negative 3. If you wanted to, you could write it as r equals negative 3 as well. This is called the symmetric property. Okay, number 8. All right, distribution. Oh, can't do that. Combine like terms. I got some like terms. Let's combine some like terms. All right, so I'm going to build my wall. And then I'm going to circle my like terms. I've got a 5 and a negative 10. Since they're on the same side, we just punch in what we see into our calculator. So we have 5 minus 10, which is negative 5. Fantastic. Okay, so we have 4 still equals negative 5. And then we have this cute little fraction, 3x over 4. Okay, so now we're going to add, subtract. Except not when your variable's in a fraction. So what that means is that this guy needs to stay until the end. Do not get rid of him. We're not going to get rid of anything on the top just yet. Okay, so we're going to get rid of the 5 first. That's the add and subtract that I'm talking about, not this guy. Keep him, whatever the variable is attached to, until everything else is moved away. So that means this negative 5. So we're going to add 5 on each side to start. Okay, and then 4 and 5 make a total of 9, and then we have 3x over 4 on the right. Hold on. Okay, sorry. So then we need to get our x by itself. When you have a fraction like this, you want to save the top part. Ah! Pens flying everywhere. You want to save the top part of your fraction, your numerator, until the very end. We're going to get rid of the number underneath. Multiply by your bottom number first. So we're going to multiply each side by 4 because my x is getting divided by 4. That's what the fraction line means, divide. So we're going to do the opposite, so we'll multiply. When I multiply here, those 4's cancel, leaving just the 3x. Notice my 3 did not change. I just canceled out my 4's because 4 over 4, if you divide the two of those guys, it's 1. Okay? And we're trying to get rid of numbers. So since I multiplied on the right, I also have to multiply on the left. Then 9 times 4 is 36, and that equals my 3x. If you're not sure, I'm going to get out a calculator. 9 times 4, 36. Fantastic. We checked our work. Then we have to get the x by itself. So again, we're going to multiply, divide. Since it's getting multiplied, we do the opposite this time. So we're going to divide each side by 3. And x is 12. Okay, I hope that this helps you understand how to solve these more complicated equations better. Stick to the list, it's very helpful. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.